Welcome once again, Coach John Quintero with San Diego Sports Talk. We're doing these little podcasts a couple times a week, and normally we focus strictly on the Padres, but we're going to start a little bit different tonight. And we're going to talk about the great Jerry West, who passed away in his sleep on Tuesday night. Growing up in Southern California, I know a lot of people in San Diego now don't recall this, but if you're in your 40s, 50s, or 60s, the Lakers were the team. There's no doubt about it. Lakers were the team in Southern California. Going back to when I became a Lakers fan back in the 1965-66 season, and it's kind of unique how I became a Lakers fan, was a local product from San Diego High School, John Fairchild, who had a nice high school career, a real good career at Palomar Junior College. Then he had 2 great years at BYU. He ended up with the Lakers in 1965-66 season. I don't know John Fairchild to this day, but John Fairchild is a big reason why I became a Lakers fan. His dad used to come to my dad's bar and have a few beers after work, and my dad got to know him. So whenever the Lakers were on old Channel 11 out of Los Angeles, man, we were dialed in. And the Lakers, like a lot of years, they got to the NBA Finals with the great players like a Jerry West and an Elgin Baylor, Rudy LaRusso, Darrell Emhoff was their center, and I could go on and on. But again, they got beat once again by the Boston Celtics and Bill Russell. They got to 9 NBA Finals with Jerry West as a player, and they only won 1. But because of Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, to this day, I'm still a Lakers fan. And when I woke up this morning, getting the word that Jerry West had passed away at the age of 86, I guess part of my childhood died with him, because he was a big influence for me, as was Elgin Baylor as a young boy wanting to be a basketball player. And I eventually, got to play college basketball and got a scholarship and saved my mom and dad a lot of money. But, the other thing you got to remember, when back in those days, they didn't have the home games on television. I know a lot of people, they find that hard to believe, but they only played road games. And a lot of times those were like an hour delayed. And the great Chick Hearn, who taught us a lot of basketball here in Southern California, the greatest basketball announcer ever, I think. I know the Boston fans would probably argue that and say it was Johnny Most, but we'll go with Chick Hearn. Chick Hearn, his calls a basketball game, his phrases are still legendary among broadcasters out here on the West Coast. But Chick would call the games on radio at home, and then he would call simulcasts on the road. And again, some of those games were tape delayed an hour. If they were starting back east at 4 o'clock, and then get through some of drive time and then pop the game on radio and television at 5 o'clock. So Chick Hearn taught us a lot, but the 2 guys were Jerry West, Mr. Clutch, Zeke from Cabin Creek, Mr. Outside, eventually became the logo, even though the NBA has never said that silhouette is Jerry West. We all know it is. But Jerry West is an incredible player, 2-time All-American at West Virginia, was an Olympic gold medalist, a co-captain in the 1960 team with Oscar Robertson. That team's inducted in the Basketball Hall of Fame, as is Jerry West. And this summer, he was going to go in as an executive. He was going to be a guy that went into the Basketball Hall of Fame 3 different ways. And unfortunately, he and his family won't get to enjoy that moment. But an incredible man. Averaged 27 a game for his 14-year career with the Lakers. Won the 1 title. Part of that team that won 33 straight with Wilt Chamberlain. Elgin Baylor retired that year, but the Lakers went on and won the title that year. And then he became an executive. And one of the things that I remember, the 1978-79 basketball season, they trained at Point Loma College for a few days. And I was a junior basketball player at United States International University. And one of their assistant coaches, Jack McCloskey, was on Jerry West's staff. And he knew my head basketball coach, Mike McDonald, out at USIU. And he invited us to go watch the Lakers work out. I think I may have been the only guy that took anybody up on that. I remember walking in the door, running into Adrian Dantley. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was on that team. and I think Jamal Wilkes was on that team. And they were all right. I think they finished third in their division that year. But Jack McCloskey at night would come over to wherever we were working out. We were working out at La Jolla Country Day High School. We were working out at Mira Mesa High School because USIU didn't have an arena at that point in time. And Jack McCloskey would work with me at night and a couple of our other players on our post moves. So that just once again cemented my love for the Los Angeles Lakers. And Jerry West coached that year, and then the rest is history. Pat Riley took over. Jerry West moved into the front office, and we know all the great acquisitions he made over the years. You look at, he's the architect of Showtime, bringing in Magic Johnson, meeting with Magic once a week, sitting down after he wrote copious notes saying, Magic, you got to do this, you got to do that. This is what I'm seeing. This will make you a better player. And then, of course, in 1996, when Kobe Bryant was traded to the Lakers from Charlotte, he was 18 years of age. And Jerry West had him that first year. A lot of people don't remember this. Jerry West actually had Kobe Bryant live at his home and to make sure that everything was going right. And then the following year, Kobe, got out on his own. But yeah, he actually lived with Jerry West and his wife his rookie year with the Lakers. And Jerry West went on and worked with Memphis, went to Golden State, and was still employed by the Los Angeles Clippers. And I could go on and on. I mean, he's the only guy to ever be the finals most valuable player in the NBA on a losing team winning the MVP. Also, his team got to the national championship when he was at West Virginia. He also was the MVP of the finals, even though his team didn't win the championship. He was an incredible person. Very hard on himself, lived through depression. A lot of people may have forgot when he was the general manager of the Lakers, he used to get in his car after the game had started. He'd drive around Los Angeles, listening to Chick. He couldn't watch the game. And then he'd come back, late in the game and stand where the cameras couldn't see him. He'd stand kind of in a cubby hole where nobody could really see him. He had a hard time watching basketball games. When he wasn't playing and he was a GM, the pressure was too much for him. He had a tough upbringing in West Virginia. His dad wasn't a good guy, routinely beat him up, and it kind of scarred him for the rest of his life. And I had a gentleman today that met Jerry West a number of years ago, and he called me today and said, hey, I got this book I want you to read about Jerry West. He goes, you're going to find it fascinating, and I'm looking forward to getting to that book and reading it. But we lost one of the pioneers, really, of the NBA. And he did it in so many different levels. It's ridiculous. I mean, I could sit here and we could do a 2-hour podcast just talking about all the accomplishments of Jerry West. But like I said, being a Lakers fan since the 65-66 season, part of my childhood passed away today as well when I heard that Jerry West had passed on. But Zeke from Cabin Creek, I don't think he liked that nickname a whole lot. I don't know if he liked Mr. Clutch or Mr. Outside. Not sure he liked the logo. I think Jerry West was all about winning. He had a very, very difficult time with losing. As a player, as an executive, it tore him apart. And but you know what? He was a winner. He was a winner on the court, in the front office, and I think eventually in life he became a great winner. And we were winners because we got to watch him at all the very different levels that he produced as a player, as an executive. He was always great. Anytime you heard him interviewed, absolutely off the chart. So my sincere condolences to Jerry West's family, his wife, his sons, and to all the Laker fans. It's a tough day today. There's no question about that. Okay, with that, we're going to move on to Padre baseball. Padres had 3 really exciting days of baseball at Petco Park. We've been talking all along about how the Padres had to play better baseball at home. Well, they finished up the homestand pretty well, 5-2, splitting with the Diamondbacks and then sweeping the A's. And we're going to start with Monday night, and we'll work it to Wednesday. I do want to mention the Padres will be off on Thursday before they open up that series in New York against the struggling New York Mets. But Monday night, Padres came out and really kind of took care of business. I thought another really solid start by Dylan Cease. Yeah, he picked up the win. He's 6-5 now, 6 innings, 8 hits, a run, 8 strikeouts, hit a batter, walked a batter. Overall, was fantastic. The only guy that got him was Tyler Soderstrom, who had a couple homers in the series. He got Dylan for the only run. Morejon came in, Estrada, Enyel de los Santos doing a good job. He has been a little bit shaky giving up that long ball. He did that on Tuesday night. But then Robert Suarez making his first appearance since June 1st. He threw Monday night 15 pitches, 12 strikes, and struck out the side. Fernando really starting to find his stride. Yeah, I think Fernando, we talked about it on our podcast earlier in the week. Fernando now is starting to look like an all-star player. Really starting to look like an all-star player. I will tell you this, Wednesday, his 17-game hitting streak did come to an end. He was 0 for 3, but took a great at-bat on a 3-2 pitch in the 8th inning. A lot of guys that are selfish ball players, folks, would have swung at that pitch to try to keep his hitting streak alive. He took a close pitch, and it was ball 4. And he eventually came around on Donovan Solano's second homer of the year to tie that ball game up on Wednesday. But Monday night, he hit 5th inning solo homer. Cronenworth continues to swing it well. Jake on Monday night, 2 for 3, a double, a homer. Manny Machado back in the lineup with that hip flexor problem. Still not playing defense, 2 for 4. And Jackson Merrill, 3 for 4 with a double. Jackson Merrill, man, what a story he's turning out to be. So the Padres win game 1, 6-1. They come back Tuesday night, and things got a little bit dicey late in the ball game, but the Padres get the walk-off home run from the veteran catcher, Kyle Higashioka. Blasted the walk-off homer, bottom of the 9th on a 2-2 changeup from left-hander Scott Alexander, the former Dodger. And all the Padre fans went into the East Village in the gas lamp with a smile on their face for the second straight night. Padres out-hit Oakland that night 10-9. They were 2 for 8 with runners in scoring position. Padres starter Randy Vasquez, and I've been talking about Randy Vasquez is pitching better. The problem with Randy Vasquez is he gives up runs early in the ball game. In fact, on Tuesday night, he settled in early after his early struggles, where he gave up a first inning, first pitch leadoff homer to Abraham Toro. Think about this. Tuesday night's game. The game started first pitch, home run by Abraham Toro. Last pitch of the night, Kyle Higashioka hits it out for a game winner. So the first pitch of the game and the last pitch were home runs. How about that? I don't know if I've ever seen that. I know it's happened before. It happened earlier in the year, not with the Padres, but it has happened early in the year. But I've never seen that. I've never been in a ball game other than watching it on TV to where that's happened. But Vasquez overall pitched pretty well. They brought in Yuki Matsui for an inning, worked around a walk. Adrian Morejon, 1 inning, 7 pitches. Boy, he's throwing good. He is really throwing well right now. Enyel de los Santos, of course, came in and gave up a big home run, a 2-run homer to tie the ball game. And then Robert Suarez. Here's Suarez. He hadn't pitched since June 1st. He pitches Monday night. He pitches Tuesday night. And he came back on Wednesday and pitched again. But on Tuesday night, he went 1 1/3. And threw a total of 8 pitches. He got 4 outs on 8 pitches on Tuesday night. Boy, you talk about being, efficient. That's big time. And, of course, they know they better swing early in the count because once he gets ahead of you, not only does he have that 99, 100-mile-an-hour fastball, he got that devastating changeup he's come up with. So he got the win that night to run his record to 3-0 and drop his ERA to 0.64. Some offensive notes from Tuesday night. Luis Arraez, 2 for 4 in RBI. Fernando, a 2 for 4 night. Profar, and we're going to talk more about Jerks, and we got some pretty good news overall on him, but I'll share that a little bit later on when we do an injury report. Profar, 1 for 2 a walk, big 2-run single in the 5th to get that ball game tied up. Manny, another 2 for 4 night with a double. And Hassan Kim starting to pick it up. He was 1 for 2 with a couple of walks. Remember, Hassan Kim right now is playing for a big contract for next year. And right now, boy, he's playing okay, but I don't know if he's going to get a ton of money. We'll have to wait and see how he finishes off. Of course, there are a lot of guys now that don't produce. They get a lot of money. We'll wait and see. And then Wednesday afternoon, another walk-off win for the Padres, 5-4. They Oakland actually out-hit the Padres 10-6. Oakland made an error in the ball game, but Jackson Merrill, a walk-off homer off a slider from their big closer, Mason Miller. Guy throws a slider to a left-hand batter, and he just hammered it out of the ballpark. Man, don't you have to throw – if you can throw 102, 103 miles an hour, don't you have to try to blow a fastball by the kid, try to tie him up inside rather than speeding up his bat? That's a big mistake the way I see it. But, hey, nonetheless, Padres win. That was the second home run of the game for Jackson Merrill. And you go back to the eighth inning with 2 outs. Donovan Solano, a guy I've been talking about since they signed him to a minor league contract. I knew this guy could help the ball club. And, boy, he's doing a heck of a job, hitting over 300 still. He had 2 homers today. Got the Padres on the board early, and then he tied the ball game up with that 2-run homer in the eighth with 2 outs. So Donovan Solano getting the job done. That's how the Padres scored. They 5-4. All their runs came via the home run. Solano had the 2-run homer, but they had a total of 4 homers, 2 by Merrill, 2 by Solano. And the Padres, they get a well-deserved off day, but they'll be flying to New York. A couple of other notes in that ball game. Fernando Tatis, as I mentioned, 0 for 3, a walk there in the eighth. Did strike out a couple of times, saw his career-high 17-game hitting streak go by the way. First Padre to have a 17-game hit streak since our buddy Adrian Gonzalez back in 2006. And I wish Adrian would have finished his career, but we didn't have the ownership back then that could afford him. In fact, they didn't even give Adrian a contract. They said, we can't give Adrian a contract. They never said it publicly, but they told John Boggs' agent and Adrian that, hey, any contract we're going to offer you, you'd be embarrassed by. So they traded him to Boston, and he was there for a short period of time and ended up with the Dodgers and put together a nice run up there with the boys in blue. Okay, let's get to Padres starters. I want to talk about this because Yu Darvish, we know he's on the IL right now. We know Joe Musgrove. Let's pray that Joe comes back this year. He got that PRP injection. It's going to be a while. And they say it's going to take a couple of weeks. We'll see. The PRP injection for me, okay, and when I was working as a baseball agent a few years ago, we had a young man take, we had a couple guys take it. And one guy, he was able to come back and pitch, but he eventually needed to have Tommy John surgery. And I'm not saying that's going to be the case with Joe. I'm praying it's not. In some instances, the PRP injection, the blood plasma, it takes hold, and guys are good, and they're able to, move on in their career. I'm just praying that Joe, number one, is going to be able to come back healthy. Number two, I'm praying that he won't need to have Tommy John, because then we know you're out for 12 to 18 months, and we don't want that. And Joe's such a gamer. I talked about it in the last couple of pods. You got to protect ball players from themselves, and Joe's one of those guys you got to protect from himself because he always wants to be out there. He doesn't want to let the ball club down, but maybe even bigger, he doesn't want to let you folks down. So we'll see where that goes, but no timetable really on Joe right now. And when he does come back, he'll definitely need to probably make a few rehab appearances out at the minor leagues. Yu Darvish making good progress. Who knows? We may see you on this next road trip. We'll have to wait and see. He's thrown a couple of bullpens. I understand he's looked pretty good. We'll see where that goes. And then Jurickson Profar, if you remember, Jurickson on Tuesday night swung and missed at a pitch. I think he actually fouled it off, but he went down in a heap. Looked like he got shot. A sniper got him. And his knee's been bothering him for a while. He said his knee's been bothering him for a long period of time. Well, I got news for you. When you got patellar tendonitis, more times than not, is from overuse. I had it when I was in college. I eventually had surgery for it. It was called, in basketball, it was called jumper's knee. But it gets so inflamed sometimes that you end up having surgery. But the Padres, I think, have done a really good job of monitoring it. You can also, get shot up, take cortisone, but you can't take cortisone shots all the time for it. But he was out of the lineup Wednesday, going to be back in the lineup hopefully on Friday. Of course, you get the off day, but you also have the travel. So see where that goes. But boy, Profar, he got to be on that National League All-Star team, folks. He's been absolutely fantastic. I think him and Jackson Merrill. We didn't know who the Padres center fielder was going to be. We didn't even know it really a week and a half into spring training. All of a sudden, the Padres go, well, we're going to send Jackson Merrill out to center field, and the kid has been unbelievable. I don't know if he's going to win Rookie of the Year, but I'll tell you what, he's going to be right in the running. He ought to be. I mean, people, I hope are paying attention. Now, the Padres with the win now are 37-35. They're 2 games over 500. They're going out on a 6-game road trip, and that's cool. But Jackson Merrill, I hope people are taking notice, and I hope for Jackson's sake, he has a really good road trip because he's going to be playing in front of the New York media and the Philadelphia media. And we know how, when it comes down to these postseason awards, how East Coast bias all the way. But he's been absolutely fantastic. And hopefully Jerkson Profar gets back in there on Friday. If not, give him a couple of days. He'll get back there. A lot of times with that patellar tendonitis, your knee swells up, and you got to get the swelling down, and you get it down. And who knows, if you've got fluid in there, they may take the fluid out. So we'll keep our eye on that. But, man, what a blessing in the skies, those two guys. They've been absolutely fantastic. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the pitching matchups in New York. I think Padres overall are in pretty good shape. I do want to mention something on the starters, and we'll stay with that right now in the pitching matchups. Padres are going to have to make a decision on who's in the rotation and who's out. And I wrote down, you got Dylan Cease, who's pitching great. Randy Vasquez has been pretty sharp his last couple of times out, except he struggles in the first couple of innings. And once he gets by that, he's giving you a good 5 or 6 innings. Michael King, another outstanding performance on Wednesday. Michael King, I think, has been outstanding for the Padres. He didn't go real deep in this ball game, but he also struck out 12 batters. And then they turned it over to the bullpen. They used a host of guys on Wednesday. But Michael King, Wednesday, 5 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 12 punch-outs. Getting the job done. So you got Cease, Vasquez, King. You got Matt Waldron. You got Adam Mazur, who's going to get a start in New York. And then you're going to get Yu Darvish back. I mean, to me, and maybe you disagree, and you can put it in the little comments when you listen to this, who would you keep in the rotation, Vasquez or Mazur? I think Mazur, when he pitches in New York, he's going to be pitching for a spot in the rotation. If not, he goes back to the minor leagues when Darvish gets eligible. That to me, I don't think you can send Randy Vasquez down. I think he's in a pretty good groove right now. He's doing a much better job of attacking the strike zone. So I think that's good. Now, let's take a look at those pitching matchups. And, of course, the Padres, they play in New York, and then they move on to take on the team that's played better than anybody all year long in either league, the Philadelphia Phillies. Okay, Friday night at Citi Field, 4:10. Right-hander Matt Waldron, 4-5 and a 3.76, going against our old buddy left-hander Sean Manaea. Sean Manaea, 3-3 with a 4.30. Last 5 starts for Matt Waldron. I've been telling you, he's been pitching lights out. He's 3-0 with a 1.50 ERA, 30 innings, 22 hits, 5 earned runs, 6 walks, 33 punch-outs, and batters in his last 5 starts hitting .202 against him. Sean Manaea, on the other hand, his last 5 starts, he's 1-2 with a high 5.68 ERA. Okay, again, that game starts at 4:10 on Friday. Saturday afternoon, Citi Field, an afternoon affair, 1:10. It'll be 23-year-old right-hander Adam Mazur going against soft-tossing veteran left-hander Jose Quintana. Mazur, 0-1 with a 9 ERA. Be making his 3rd start. Last time out, roughed up by Arizona, 3 innings, 8 hits, 8 earned runs, gave up a homer. And again, the walks are a problem. He's walked 7 batters in 9 innings. Like I mentioned, it could be his last start. Wait and see what happens. If he pitches well, maybe he hangs around. If he is so-so, probably goes back when Darvish comes off the IL. And Jose Quintana, 1-5 with a 5.29 ERA. The getaway game on Sunday, it'll be an early morning start, 10:40. Right-hander Dylan Cease, 6-5 and a 3.36, going against a young kid out of Southern California, out of Long Beach. Right-hander Taylor McGill, Tyler McGill, excuse me. 1-3 and a 3.16 ERA. So Friday night, you got Waldron going against Mania. Saturday, you got Mazer going against Quintana. And getaway day, Cease against McGill. And then the Padres will move into Citizens Bank Ballpark. Monday night game gets underway at 3:40. Tuesday night at 3:40. And then an early morning game out here on the West Coast Wednesday. They'll take on the Phillies at 10:10. And then the Padres will come back home. And a week from Thursday, June 20th, they'll be ready to take on at Petco Park the Milwaukee Brewers, right now the leaders in the National League Central. One other note I wanted to pass on regarding San Diego sports. I don't know if you saw it or not, but the Padres and the Holiday Bowl, San Diego Bowl Game Association, they announced earlier this week that the Holiday Bowl will be leaving Petco Park. Should have been after 3 games, but remember UCLA pulled out of that first game against North Carolina State with the last minute. They said they had COVID and they couldn't field a team. But the last couple of years have been fun. I've gone to both games. I plan on going to this year's game whenever the date is announced and the time, usually a day or two after Christmas. But they're going to move back to Mission Valley. It'll be at Snapdragon Stadium. So always a fun time going to the Holiday Bowl. So I just wanted to make sure you got that. I want to thank everyone. And again, when you log on, would certainly appreciate it if you would not only watch the video and hear what I have to say, but if you'd subscribe to our podcast. We're trying to get up and running. At some point in time, we're going to get to where we are doing them live, and we'll have interaction back and forth. Which I like, but just getting this underway, always trying to work ahead. We'll get something live here before too long, but I really appreciate it. And again, please subscribe. You can follow me on Facebook at John Quintera, and of course you can follow me on X at Coach Quintera 44. At Coach Quintera 44. You can send me questions, whether it's on Facebook or on X. I'm more than happy to get back to you. And boy, Padres playing good. I go to bed tonight feeling pretty good about our ball club. They're getting some really nice contributions, and the big boys are starting to heat up a little bit. And Xander Bogaerts probably going to still be a ways away, probably, maybe by the end of July, hopefully. He can get back and, definitely have to go on a rehab assignment. But things are starting to cook. Team's playing pretty well right now. And let's hope Jurickson, that knee calms down a little bit. Let's get Darvish back and eventually get Musgrove back and healthy and make a nice little run to get into the playoffs this year and see if we can finally get to that World Series. A lot of work to be done, and you got to stay healthy. But, boy, coming off a 3-game sweep of the Oakland Athletics, just what the doctor ordered for our San Diego Padres. Again, thanks for tuning in. We'll have another podcast up late on Sunday evening, so we'll recap that New York Mets series, and we'll get you ready for Bryce Harper and the Philadelphia Phillies. Until then, Coach John Quintera, have a great night, great day. Talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.